What if one simple idea about remainders could unlock one of the most famous theorems in all of number theory? Today, we're going to prove Fermat's little theorem from first principles using sets, congruences, a proof by contradiction, and Gauss's lemma. Stay until the end, because every step builds toward a beautiful and surprising conclusion. We begin by stating the theorem. For any prime number denoted by p, if a is an integer and p does not divide a, then a raised to the power of p minus 1 is congruent to 1 modulo p. Now let us move on to the proof. We shall use the method of multiple sets. First, we define a set denoted by S containing all possible non-zero remainders of Euclidean division by p. Thus, S equals 1, 2, 3, and so on up to p minus 1. Next, we define a second set denoted by S prime containing the elements a and 2 times a, and 3 times a, and so on up to p minus 1 times a. We shall now prove that all elements of the set S prime have distinct congruence classes modulo p. To do this, we proceed by contradiction. Assume that there exist two distinct indices denoted by m and n, both between 1 and p minus 1, that have the same congruence modulo p. Then there exists an integer denoted by r such that a times m is congruent to our modulo p, and a times n is congruent to our modulo p. From these two congruences, we deduce that a times m is congruent to a times n modulo p. This means that a times m minus a times n is congruent to 0 modulo p. Extracting a as a common factor, we obtain a times m minus n is congruent to 0 modulo p. This means that the prime number p divides the product a times m minus n. Now we invoke Gauss's lemma, which states that if a non-zero natural number p divides the product of two integers, a and b, and if p and a are relatively prime, then p divides b. Applying this lemma to our situation, and recalling that p does not divide a, according to the statement of Fermat's little theorem, we conclude that p divides m minus n. However, since m and n are distinct integers between 1 and p minus 1, their difference is strictly less than p in absolute value. Therefore, for p to divide m minus n, it must be true that m minus n equals 0. This implies that m equals n. But this contradicts our assumption that m and n are distinct. Therefore, our assumption was false. We conclude that the elements a and 2 times a and 3 times a, and so on up to p minus 1 times a, have distinct congruence classes modulo p. Now let us recall the definition of congruence. An integer denoted by a is said to be congruent to an integer denoted by n, modulo a non-zero natural number denoted by p, if and only if there exists an integer denoted by k such that a equals k times p plus n. From this definition, we obtain the following property. For all integers a, b, m, and n, and for every non-zero natural number p, if a is congruent to m modulo p, and b is congruent to n modulo p, then the product a times b is congruent to the product m times n modulo p. Let us return to our proof and apply this property. Since the elements of S prime are congruent modulo p to p minus 1 distinct non-zero residues, we can multiply all of them together. Thus, a times 2 times a times 3 times a, and so on up to p minus 1 times a, is congruent to p minus 1 factorial modulo p. This means that p minus 1 factorial times a raised to the power of p minus 1 is congruent to p minus 1 factorial modulo p. Subtracting the right-hand side from the left-hand side, we obtain p minus 1 factorial times a raised to the power of p minus 1 minus p minus 1 factorial is congruent to 0 modulo p. Extracting p minus 1 factorial as a common factor, we obtain p minus 1 factorial times a raised to the power of p minus 1 minus 1 is congruent to 0 modulo p. Therefore, the prime number p divides the product p minus 1 factorial times a raised to the power of p minus 1 minus 1. However, p does not divide p minus 1 factorial because p is relatively prime to each of the integers 1, 2, 3, and so on up to p minus 1, all of which are strictly smaller than p. Consequently, p divides a raised to the power of p minus 1 minus 1. This means that a raised to the power of p minus 1 minus 1 is congruent to 0 modulo p. Hence, a raised to the power of p minus 1 is congruent to 1 modulo p. This is exactly the statement of Fermat's little theorem. We have successfully proved Fermat's little theorem using sets, congruences, a proof by contradiction, the multiplicative property of congruences, and Gauss's lemma. Starting from the set of non-zero residues modulo a prime number and showing that multiplication by a merely permutes those residues, we arrived at one of the most elegant results in elementary number theory. If you learned from this proof, make sure to like this video, subscribe to the Mathematecher channel, and leave a comment telling us which theorem or number theory result you would like to see proved next. Finally, if you truly enjoy this kind of educational content and you want to take your own YouTube journey to the next level, I invite you to check out vidIQ. Using the link in the description, vidIQ is an all-in-one solution designed specifically for YouTube creators. It allows you to schedule and publish posts directly on YouTube, analyze your channel's growth with detailed insights, generate thumbnails, create video scripts, and access a wide variety of other powerful tools all in one place. If you want to support this channel while also boosting your own YouTube performance, getting a subscription to vidIQ is one of the best ways to do it. Just click the link in the description, explore what it can do for you, and start improving your content today. Thank you for watching, and remember, where maths makes sense,